1. According to NFPA 1041, Standard for Fire and Emergency Services Instructor Professional Qualifications, which adult learning principle is most critical when teaching technical rescue operations to experienced firefighters. A. Providing detailed theoretical backgrounds before practical application. B. Connecting new information to learners' existing knowledge and experience. C. Implementing strict classroom discipline and attendance policies. Using only lecture-based instruction to ensure consistency. 2. When developing a fire service training curriculum aligned with NFPA standards, what is the primary purpose of conducting a job task analysis? To determine the appropriate salary range for instructors. B. To identify specific knowledge, skills, and abilities required for competent performance. C. To establish the minimum age requirements for program participants. D. To calculate the total cost of training materials and equipment. 3. Under NFPA 1041, an instructor 2 must be able to develop lesson plans. Which component is essential for effective lesson plan development? A. Personal opinions about the subject matter. B. Specific, measurable learning objectives aligned with performance outcomes. C. A list of all possible questions students might ask. D. Detailed biographical information about the instructor. 4. Which evaluation method best assesses a firefighter's ability to properly don self-contained breathing apparatus, SCBA, according to NFPA 1404? A. Written examination covering SCBA components. B. Group discussion about SCBA importance. C. Performance-based evaluation using established criteria. D. Self-assessment questionnaire. 5. According to adult learning theory applied in fire service education, what is the primary motivation for adult learners in fire service training? A. Earning certificates to display in their offices. B. Solving real-world problems and immediate application to their work. C. Competing with colleagues for recognition. D. Fulfilling mandatory minimum training hours. 6. When communicating safety-critical information during fire service training, which technique aligns with NFPA 1041 instructor requirements? A. Using technical jargon to demonstrate expertise. B. Speaking quickly to cover more material in less time. C. Employing clear, concise language and confirming understanding. D. Avoiding questions to maintain training schedule. 7. NFPA 1403, Standard on Live Fire Training Evolutions, requires specific safety measures. What is the minimum number of instructors required for interior live fire training? A. 1 instructor regardless of the number of students. B. A sufficient number to maintain a 5-to-1 student-to-instructor ratio inside the structure. C. 2 instructors total, 1 inside and 1 outside. D. 1 instructor for every 3 students inside the structure. 8. Which assessment tool is most appropriate for evaluating cognitive learning outcomes in fire service education? A. Physical fitness test. B. Written examination with scenario-based questions. C. Timed ladder climb. D. Equipment maintenance checklist. 9. According to NFPA 1041, what is a key responsibility of an instructor 3 regarding curriculum development? A. Personally teaching every class session. B. Administering agency policies for training programs. C. Avoiding involvement in budget planning. D. Focusing solely on recruit training programs. 10. When mentoring a new fire service instructor, which approach best supports their professional development? A. Criticizing all mistakes publicly to ensure rapid improvement. B. Providing constructive feedback with specific examples and guidance. C. Allowing complete independence without observation or feedback. D. Requiring them to replicate your exact teaching style. 11. NFPA 1001, Standard for Firefighter Professional Qualifications, establishes requirements for Firefighter 1 and 2. What must an instructor verify before certifying a candidate? A. The candidate has met all job performance requirements. B. The candidate is personally liked by all crew members. C. The candidate has the highest written test score in the class. D. The candidate has family members in the fire service. 12. Which technique enhances retention when teaching complex fire behavior concepts to adult learners? A. Lecturing for extended periods without breaks. B. Using multiple sensory inputs, including visual aids, demonstrations, and hands-on practice. C. Providing all information in a single intensive session. D. Avoiding real-world examples to prevent confusion. 13. According to NFPA 1041, what documentation must an instructor maintain for training records? A. Only the final pass-fail status of students. B. Personal opinions about each student's potential. C. Comprehensive records of attendance, performance, and evaluation results. D. Informal notes kept in a personal journal. 14. When developing evaluation criteria for fire service practical skills, what principle ensures fairness and consistency? A. Allowing each evaluator to use their own judgment without guidelines. B. Creating specific observable criteria based on NFPA standards. C. Evaluating students based on their years of experience. D. Using different standards for different groups of students. 15. NFPA 14.3 prohibits certain conditions during live fire training. Which situation is strictly prohibited? A. Using approved Class A combustibles as fuel. B. Conducting pre-burn planning sessions. C. Allowing flammable or combustible liquids as fuel. D. Requiring SCBA for all participants in the hot zone. 16. What is the most effective way to address diverse learning styles in fire service training? A. Teaching only to visual learners, since they are the majority. B. Using a single instructional method consistently. C. Incorporating varied instructional strategies, including visual, auditory, and kinesthetic approaches. D. Requiring all students to adapt to the instructor's preferred method. 17. According to NFPA 1041, an instructor run must be able to deliver prepared lessons. What is a primary skill required for effective delivery? A. Memorizing all content word for word. B. Using effective communication techniques and adapting to learner needs. C. Maintaining rigid adherence to time schedules regardless of comprehension. D. Avoiding eye contact to prevent distraction. 18. When evaluating a student's performance during a fire ground simulation, which method provides the most valid assessment? A. Comparing the student to the best performer in previous classes. B. Using predetermined performance criteria aligned with NFPA standards. C. Basing evaluation on the student's confidence level. D. Assessing only the final outcome without considering process. 19. NFPA 1500, Standard on Fire Department Occupational Safety and Health Program, requires training on what critical component? A. Advanced firefighting tactics only. B. Risk management and safety procedures. C. Administrative paperwork exclusively. D. Community relations skills. 20. Which questioning technique is most effective for promoting critical thinking during fire service training? A. Yes/no questions that require minimal thought. B. Open-ended questions that require analysis and application. C. Leading questions that suggest the desired answer. D. Rhetorical questions that require no response. 21. According to adult learning principles, when is the optimal time to provide corrective feedback during skills training? A. Weeks after the training session, during a formal review. B. Immediately or soon after the performance while the experience is fresh. C. Only during annual performance evaluations. D. Never, to avoid damaging confidence. 22. NFPA 1041 requires instructors to adapt lessons to meet learner needs. What should an instructor do when students demonstrate prerequisite skill deficiencies? A. Continue with the planned lesson and ignore the gaps. B. Dismiss students who lack prerequisites. C. Assess the gap and provide remedial instruction or resources. D. Lower the performance standards to accommodate everyone. 23. When developing training objectives for fire service education, what format ensures clarity and measurability? A. Vague statements allowing flexible interpretation. B. Objectives written from the instructor's perspective. C. Specific statements describing observable learner performance, conditions, and standards. D. General goals without measurable outcomes. 24. Which communication barrier is most common in fire service training environments? Excessive use of jargon and acronyms without explanation. B. Speaking too clearly and slowly. Using too many visual aids. D. Providing too much advance notice of training topics. 25. NFPA 1403 requires that live fire training be conducted under specific environmental conditions. What weather condition would necessitate cancellation or postponement? A. Partly cloudy skies with no precipitation. B. High winds that could compromise safety or spread fire beyond the training structure. C. Temperatures between 50 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. D. Humidity levels above 40%. 26. When mentoring a probationary firefighter, which approach best facilitates learning and professional growth? A. Providing answers immediately without allowing problem-solving attempts. B. Using a graduated approach with increasing responsibility and decreasing supervision. C. Maintaining constant direct supervision for the entire probationary period. D. Avoiding feedback to allow natural learning progression. 27. According to NFPA 1041, what is required for an instructor to effectively evaluate student performance? A. Personal friendship with each student. B. Knowledge of evaluation methods and performance criteria. C. Advanced degrees in education. D. Minimum of 20 years of fire service experience.